Testing, testing. Sounds like it's on, even without tape. Oh, good. Shirley, can you hear us? Yay. Smell. Pretty smell. Mm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Oh, good. Can you figure it out how to get on? Yay. Hi,
Hello, hello,
Barbara.
testing, testing.
Shabbat Shalom, one and all, those of you who are here in our sanctuary, those of you who are joining us through Zoom, those who might be wandering somewhere on their way here. Rabbi Mati is in Washington, D.C. at the 150th celebration of the URJ, so it's my honor to be here tonight with Gabrielle and with Andrew and with Miles to help us through our Shabbat celebration. To begin, we bring light into our lives, into our sanctuary with lighting of candles on page 120. And I invite the women of the congregation in the sanctuary to light those candles for us. They're to the right. No stairs tonight.
Better for all of our backs. Yeah. Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. We turn in our Sidurim to page 130 for L'chu Neranena.
L'chu neranena l'Adonai, nari al-tzur yishenu, nekadma fanav betoda bizmirot, nari alo nekadma fanav betoda bizmirot, nari alo shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai baruchu shemo, basro miyom leyom yeshuato, sapro v'goyim kevodo, bechol ha'amim niflotav. Aylai, 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 aylai,
Sing praise to Adonai with the lyre and melodious song. We continue with Zamru l'Adonai Bechinor, page 134.
Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, b'chatzotzrot v'kol shofar. Harihu lifnei hamelech Adonai, Yiram hayom אדוני קיווה לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק ועמים במישרים. ירום הים ומנו, תבל ויושביה, עדי נהרות ימחך, ויחד הרים ירננו, ויחד הרים ירננו.
We turn to Lecha Dodi on page 138, thinking of Shabbat entering like a bride, dressed in white, pure, a time for new beginnings. Lecha Dodi, page 138.
לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדירה אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו לתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נעשוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי. אורי אורי שדברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לא תבושי ולא תקלמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי. בך יחסו אני אעמי, ונבנתה עירתי לה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה אותי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקחת אותי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
You may be seated. We add one more psalm to our Kabbalat Shabbat, Psalm 92 on page 140.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי יוסוי ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור, צדיק כתמר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו, עוד ינובון בזבע, דשנים ברעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני, צורי ולא הבלעת בו.
Chatzi Kaddish, page 144.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה,
Amen.
בעמד יברך חירותי ויניח מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחייתך בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתעלה לשמי קודשה, בריחו לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בהמה, ואמרו אמן.
Invite you to rise in body or spirit for Baruch Hu, our call to worship on page 146.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
You may be seated. This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Aravim.
Amen.
We think about when we cross over from one realm to another. The thing that helps us is the support and the love that we find through our fellow human beings. And from that emanates the love of God. Ahavat Olam, page 150.
Ahavat olam bet Yisrael Amcha ahavta Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Otanu limadeta Akin Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbenu Uvekumenu nasiach bechukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha Uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu Ve'orech yameinu Uvahem nege yomam v'layla Nege yomam v'layla Ve'ahavatcha al tasir Mimenu le'olamin Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael Ohev Amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
We continue page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Standing on the parted shores of history, We still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching through together. Michamocha, page 158.
Ay, ay, alay, lay, ay, ay, lay, ay, lay, 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 lay. Ay, lay, 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 ay, lay, lay, ay, lay, la, 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 lay. Ay, lay, 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 ay, lay, lay. Ay, ay, lay, 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 lay. Ay, lay, 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 ay, lay, lay. Ay, lay, la, 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 lay. Mi chamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar bakodesh. Nora tehilot osefele, Nora tilot osefele. Alay dai malchotecha ravanecha, bokei yam nifne Moshe Miriam. Ze eli anu ve'amro, oy ze eli anu ve'amro. Adonai imnoch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, uge'alom yad chazak mimenu, baruch ata Adonai, ga'al Yisrael.
Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us the shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours.
Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play one day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ufros aleinu. Sukkot shlomecha, v'taknenu be'etza tova milefanecha. All my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play one day, one day, one day. Baruch ata Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
We think about our brothers and sisters around the world who are unable to celebrate and observe Shabbat because they are not free to do so. It's commanded in the Torah to the Shamru, to guard, to watch, to observe the Shabbat. So we emphasize that by singing Vishamru, page 162.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam, berit olam, beini uven bnei Yisrael oti leolam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat Shabbat vayinafas Shabbat vayinafas Shabbat vayinafas.
We turn to the Amidah, page 164, an opportunity to either follow the text or have a private conversation with God. I invite you to rise.
Adonai Safatai Tiftach Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. We continue on the bottom of page 180. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, hoya ase shalom aleinu, va'al kol Yisrael, ve'yimru amen. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, hoya ase shalom aleinu, va'al kol Yisrael, ve'yimru amen. Hoya ase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, hoya ase shalom aleinu, va'al kol Yisrael, ve'yimru amen. Va'al kol Yisrael, amen.
We conclude our prayers with the Misha Berach, a prayer for healing, those suffering physically, emotionally, spiritually, those enduring addictions. In our community, we remember Andrea Goldberg, Anita Muchnikoff, Bruce Melser, Chayamira Batsara Ve'aron, Alan Boyarsky, Chuck Gladstein, Dale Scully, David Trachtman, Edward Schechter, Manuel Ben Naomi, Evelyn Ma, Howard Rubin, Jerry Harmon, Joan Neer, Linda Krause, Lois Sussman, Marilyn Page, Marlene Spiegel, Matityahu Aharon Ben Moriah, Matthew Sapper, Michael Hennig, Peter Dernbach, Sharon Lee, Shirley Malin, Shirley Zeidman, Susan Grosser, Tammy Moore, and Zach Pesner. Are there any in our congregation whose names we should remember? Are there any in the Zoom chat box who we'd like to add?
Prayers for Rose Nessman, Robert Pfaff, Marlene Pfaff, Paul Pfaff, Luis Gonzalez, Francia Yera, Christopher Gonzalez, Elise Nine, Gary Gruber, Sean Airy, and Sheila Benson.
For those mentioned and for those we hold in our hearts, we sing the words of the Misha Berach on page 371.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, oh bless the ones before
wish all of those mentioned and those we hold in our hearts a refuah shlema, a return to wholeness and goodness. Amen.
Amen.
We'll include you too, Gabrielle. Shabbat Shalom once again. My mother's yahrzeit was yesterday, the 7th day of Hanukkah, which means that we will read her name this Shabbat. When she died in 1984, my father showed absolutely no emotion. In fact, he made light of the grieving process and was quick to move on with his life. I realized that given the experiences that he had as a Holocaust survivor, he likely learned to become stoic in the face of adversity. Yet, not showing any emotion seemed unusual at the time. It was a year later, at my mother's unveiling, that he suddenly released the raw sadness that he had been holding on to, that had been pent up from the previous 12 months. With close friends on either side, he felt safe, and he began to sob in a way I had never seen. In fact, I had never seen him cry. He nearly fell to the ground as the emotion poured out and was caught as he nearly collapsed, both physically and spiritually, I believe, by those who had been his closest friends over the years. What he either didn't know or want to show was that people are never too old or too young to be what they really are, feeling, sensitive human beings. He was great at giving to others, but seldom showed his own sadness to the world. A Hasidic saying teaches that no one is a whole human being unless his or her own heart has been broken. A significant part of the human experience is emotional. We sense and we feel. We love and we hate. Yet in our culture, the myth that weeping is a sign of weakness endures, especially among some men. The reality is that tears are among the most effective means of handling a challenging emotional transition. And we see it clearly in this week's Torah portion, Miketz. As a result of famine in Canaan, 10 of Joseph's brothers go to Egypt to purchase grain. Joseph, who oversees food distribution in Egypt, recognizes them, his brothers who condemned him to the pit, but he doesn't reveal himself to them. Rather, he pretends to be a stranger and speaks harshly to them. Does he want revenge, or is it a strategy to elicit their love? We can't be sure, but we certainly can feel the tension. He puts them to a test, instructing them to return home and bring their youngest brother Benjamin back to Egypt, while he holds brothers Simeon, as hostage. Joseph then leaves their presence and goes to weep privately. By the way, this won't be the only time that Joseph turns aside to sob. Back home in Canaan, the frightened brothers convince their father Jacob to allow them to return to Egypt with Benjamin. When Joseph lays eyes on the youngster, his emotions are so deeply stirred that he retreats once again to an inner chamber where he weeps a second time, alone. He can't weep in front of others. Perhaps it is to protect himself from his advisors. Perhaps it is inhibition. Quickly, he regains composure and control of the situation, ordering his servants to serve a meal. Benjamin's portion is 5 times that of his brothers. And amidst the tension, Joseph is making actual progress towards some kind of reconciliation. But you can still cut the tension with a knife. In next week's parsha, called Vayigash, after further intrigue, Brother Judah will caution Joseph that if they return to their father without Benjamin, the old man will suffer deeply, perhaps even dying. At this point, though, Joseph, who could no longer restrain himself, clears the room of everyone except for his brothers. The medieval commentator Rashi states that Joseph removed the Egyptians so that his brothers would not be shamed before them. Then Joseph gave voice to a loud wail, so intense that everyone in the palace could hear. This was weeping episode number 3. The scene closes as Joseph, tears still flowing, embraces Benjamin and proceeds to kiss all his brothers and weep with them. Only then, states the Torah, could his brothers respond to him. These are powerful scenes. Years of pent-up feelings finally pour out from Joseph. Remember how it happened. First he wept alone, as if to say, I am human. I have fears. That self-confident, stern, efficient image that I conveyed masked all my hurt, my love, and my anxieties. Then he wept a second time, also in private. And then finally, third, his emotions poured out in the presence of his brothers. At this point, Joseph is able to say to his brothers, don't be troubled. Don't be chagrined because you sold me here, for it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. In other words, it was all part of God's plan so that I could save your lives. The Torah describes not 1 or 2, but 3 episodes of weeping that enabled Joseph to reach this perspective. Like his brothers, he too was carrying around with him heavy emotional baggage. And so do we in our own lives. Finding ways of lightening that burden frees us to be happier and more productive human beings. As we approach the winter solstice in the week ahead, we will have the fewest hours of light. For many, this is a time of year that carries with it dark emotions. The dark outside world for some brings out the darkness with which we live in our souls. May the light we kindled during the past week of Hanukkah and the lights of Shabbat replace any sorrow we feel at this dark time of year. May we look towards the hopes and dreams that pave the way to a healthier future. As we look for healing, may shadows be dispelled. And may we encounter flickers of the flame that can be a reminder of our own inner strength, embracing the lightness that comes in pursuing the journey towards newfound resilience, serenity, and joy. Shabbat Shalom. We continue with Aleinu, page 586. You want to, or I can do it? Okay. (586), and I invite you to rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated.
No need to apologize. Take your time.
We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. If you are remembering somebody who has passed away in the last year, I invite you to rise and share their name with us. If you are remembering a loved one whose anniversary, whose yahrzeit is this Shabbat, I invite you to rise and share their names. Elspeth Kaufman. Those in our community whose names include June Tarnapole, Leonard Staff, John McMurdy, Helen Miller, Lillian Brown, June Isaacson, Joni Mallon, Ephraim Zuckerman, Mottel Kaplan, Betty Henderson, Benjamin Joseph Schechter, Tilly Coppolo, Benjamin Joseph Schechter. And are there those on Zoom whose names are to be added?
We're remembering Michael Goldberg, Mitch Shapiro, Michael Sussman, David Shapiro, Aileen Notick, Sandy Wager, Didi Ginter, Dennis Drucker, Christine Race, and all those killed in Israel.
Thank you. For those mentioned, those we hold in our hearts, we rise as a community to support our mourners and let them lead us in the Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah
Amen.
Be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru
Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ulalmei almaya.
Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit romam v'yit naseh v'yit hadar v'yit aleh v'yit halal Shemei dekudashah
Brichu.
La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabbah min shmaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael imru amen.
Amen.
May the one who sends peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved among us. And we say, Amen. You may be seated. A couple of announcements before we do our Kiddush and our closing song. On December 24th, which is a week from Sunday, I believe, our Movie Mavens group will present the movie 8 Crazy Nights with Adam Sandler, John Lovitz, and Rob Schneider. 1 o'clock p.m. Come for popcorn, candy, a soft drink, and, of course, the movie. We are trying to put together a Chinese meal together for either that night or on Christmas, which is a traditional event for our community. The office, ECLC, and Gesher will be closed for winter break, so please consult the tidbits for that. And lastly, and probably most importantly, there are lemons outside by the front, thanks to Esther and Tony. Please take some if you would like. They smell heavenly. Homegrown, home-picked. They do smell wonderful. Thank you so much. Our closing song tonight will be
Shalom Rav, which can be found on page 178. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. I went too far.
And we turn to page 122 for Vayachulu and Kiddush. Or you can just la la la.
Vayerev vayivoker yom hashishi. Vayachulu hashamayim v'ha'aretz v'chol tzva'am. Vayachal Elohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa. Vayishbot bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa. Vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i vayekadesh oto. Ki vo Shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Zavri chaverai.
L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר יציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים. ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. Torah study, 9 a.m. and services at 10 a.m., followed by lunch.
Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat
everyone.
Shalom. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom, friends on Zoom. I could see that we were having maybe some technical difficulties with the video. I apologize for that. But thank you for hanging in there with us. And I hope everyone is doing well. And I hope, nope, yeah, it froze again. And tonight my mom is in Chicago again with my nana. So they were watching together tonight.
Please join us for
hamotzi
hamotzi
and oneg.
actually home-baked cookies.
Home-baked cookies. In your home?
They were from the cookie exchange.
Oh, nice. They're from the cookie exchange.
Well, not gonna be able. Doesn't look like we're gonna be able to
like my
talk
mom
to her
is probably
tonight.
talking right now, but I can't hear you, Mama. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mom and Nana. Hi, Shabbat Shalom. If you can both hear me.
Let's see if she somehow
Maybe I'll
gets
call
back
you.
on here now.
Maybe I'll call you when I'm in the car. Okay. And then they'll be here on the Zoom tomorrow morning as well. So hopefully we'll figure out the mishigas and all will go smoothly.
Alright, we're out of here.